Well, good morning, Brian.
Good morning, Caleb. Happy Wednesday. We're actually recording on a Wednesday.
Yeah,
Which is crazy.
it's like it was on a Wednesday, Jesus saved me.
All right, we're not getting into that. That's too early for that shit.
Agreed.
Agreed.
So, I'm a painter, right?
Wait, what? You
know,
told
like-
me that you were a male gigolo. What is
Well,
happening?
hang on. Two things can be possible at the same
That's
time.
true. They're not mutually exclusive.
Not at all. Not at all. No, but yeah, I paint, and I went to that funny little thing called art school, and I studied.
I
all
also
of that
went
stuff.
to that funny little thing called art school.
Right. It's
Yeah.
a weird ass place. Very
I loved
very
it.
fun, but yeah. But I learned a lot, not just about painting in general and how to paint, but I learned a lot about some of the weird pigments that are out there in the world, that some of which are still around that we use, but some of them have some really bizarre and fascinating history. So I thought today we could talk about some of those weird ass colors and weird ass pigments.
Well, let's cue the theme song.
Hell yeah. Distracto. So, what's your week been like? It's been a crazy week for me over here because we're still kind of dealing with moving in things and trying to get work done. So it's been weird. But what about you?
The moving stuff never ends. It's crazy.
I feel like it's going to be like a full calendar year before 80% of the boxes are open.
Dude, I'm telling you. This week it's been okay. My son is looking to get his school situation settled for next semester or next academic year.
Is he finally moving off to boarding school?
Oh God, if only. No, he's doing an online school because traditional classroom stuff isn't for everyone, and we are coming up with options, and we figured that this would be the best. So that is going to work out for him, I think. So we did a gap year because we're awesome parents, and he figured out kind of where he wanted to be, and we told him college isn't necessary if you're not into it. As long as you get a job and have some skills that are marketable once you move out, pay the bills, preferably legally. We don't care if you want to go back to college later. Great, because it's not for everybody, and I get it. So yeah, we're trying to figure that out. So he's at a meeting right now, actually, with the county school,
with the truant officers, folks. Right? Because he's been missing for a year.
He's basically just getting fitted for a jumpsuit right now. So that's gonna be good. He's gonna be making license plates pretty soon here. It's gonna be good.
Hell yeah! Well, I'll make sure to put in my order.
Please do. He strictly does porny vanity plates. So
I love that. Well, hey, that again, it goes with my male gigolo, alternate career.
So anything ending in 420 or 69 is really his wheelhouse. That's what he likes to do.
That's amazing. That sounds like my kids, jokes. Hey, Dad, guess what? What? 420, 69. I'm like, you don't even fucking know what that means.
Yeah, you have no idea what that means. So aside from that, we're just trying to figure out our summer plans. My wife really wants to go see the ocean because she feels like the world is super stressful, and it is. So we are trying to figure out where to make that happen. So this summer, maybe taking a week somewhere at a beach is what we're trying to do. Yeah. Aside from that, I have a concert coming up this weekend, and I'm excited about your favorite. Going to go see some ska bands, Caleb. You love them.
Oh,
you love them.
Oh, yay. Just
come on. One of these days, I'm going to get you to go to a ska show with me, and you're going to have fun. I've never seen anyone not have fun at a ska show. They're great.
You haven't seen me at a ska show. I'm just going to stand there and stare and judge.
You're like, pander to me, horn boy.
That fucking trombone player won't stop spitting at me.
Well, he has a spit valve. It's a whole thing. Anyway,
that's
it.
Those are so gross when they empty those. It is like
I hear some
tobacco chew. It's so gross. It's a mixture.
Tell you what, I'll go to a ghost show if you go to a good ska show.
Oh hell, there's not even a comparison, man. It's like
there is an absolute comparison. Have you heard of Ghost?
Yeah, they're my favorite. Shut up.
Yeah, the only way to make them better would be add a bunch of horns, dude. Come on.
Satan.
I mean, they're constantly reinventing themselves. They could do like a cool swingy version of whatever it is they sing about. So there you go.
What would it be like? Scottin?
No, I think
Scottin.
I think it would be like more of a big band kind of thing, like like with the old 50s and 40s, like big band. They all have the little podium with the ghost sigil on them, like the little risers, and they all have like they're at a.
It would be hard to play horns
recital
with all those masks on.
Yeah, the faceless demons would definitely have to like open up a mouth hole or something.
That would open your mouth hole, demon.
That's the name of the album. Open your mouth hole to let the horns in.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
That would track. So.
Anyway.
But on a weird callback to things that I've got, my family just booked another cruise.
Woo!
So
hopefully it's the naked one.
It was upon my insistence. It was the Goth Mommy cruise.
All right, kids, get your white face paint and your black layers because we're going to the beach.
It's just milkers and mommies all day long.
Please tell me they have a kid-friendly section on that boat. This is for like the Goth 101 people.
Hi. So you've decided to book the Goth Mommy cruise. It's like instead of the safety thing, it's the here's how to navigate this cruise and not be completely mortified the entire time.
The kids will spend the majority of their time on the My Chemical Romance deck, which is the Goth primer. So there you go.
It's for scene kids,
Yeah, it's for scene. They have to do the gateway emo drug before you get into full goth status. That's how it goes.
Absolutely. They have Robert Smith night.
We got to get you sad about life first before you can be super sad about everything.
Robert Smith night is the kickoff party.
Oh yeah, I guess Cure would be more accessible. I would hang out on the Cure deck. You kidding me?
Well, then they've got Susie Saturdays for Susie and the Banshees, and then
also great.
You've got some Bauhaus, and so there's
now you're starting to get into the weeds a little bit.
See,
if I hear that fucking Bela Lugosi song one more time, I'm gonna jump off a bridge. Jesus Christ!
Hey man,
that and Joy Division can fuck all the way off. I'm sorry. Yeah, come at me. Come at me. Comments.
Joy Division.
Come at me.
Oh God. Okay, now. But you love ska, so.
I don't like being sad, Caleb. That's why I listen to fucking ska music.
Well, if there was the opposite of goth, I suppose ska would be it. So representing both spectrums of both sides of the spectrum.
God, I would see a show where a really like legendary goth band, like Fishbone or something, opens up for them. It's like, all right, this is weird.
We heard you like cruises, and then they do their thing, and then out comes Bauhaus,
and it all takes place at a Chuck E. Cheese. It's like, what the?
But you know what? Surprisingly, that is the one place I could see where you could get away with having both ska and goth at the same time.
Yeah, the Scoth cruise or the
Scoth. Yeah. No, Gah. Oh my God, it's the Gah cruise.
I've made a joke for years where I thought it would be really hilarious if like Enya performed with Slayer and it would be the Paint the Sky with Blood tour, which would be pretty great.
Now that's amazing. I love all of that.
Just to see the cross section of fans that would show up to something like that is something that I really want to see in my lifetime.
That would be amazing. I would love Enya to dress like she was in Slayer and Slayer to dress like they played for Enya.
Right. Just a bunch of, I don't know, late 50s Celtic ambient music performers.
With the opening act of Susan Boyle, and she could sing her I Dreamed a Dream.
And then somehow Electric Callboy would have to be in there just to shake things up a bit.
Oh heck yeah! I mean, I would pay money to go see it. I mean, it's a genuine crowd pleaser. I mean, anyone who's into any kind of music would love this show, except ska. So.
It would be the most bizarre event ever held. It's like, what is happening right now? I feel like I'm on pills. Why am I here? It's like, oh my God,
pills, baby.
It's good. Anyway, so you got the moving stuff happening. You got you got a con coming up, I think, right? Or no, you got a trip coming up.
No. I'm con free until Dragon Con, so I've already been planning that. But I've got a trip to California actually. Heading out there. I'm going to fly into San Francisco and drive down the coast, down to Anaheim, spend a couple Disney days because I'm that guy. and
That's
spend the
right.
day in LA. I'm going to go do some vinyl shopping. Definitely want to stop by Amoeba, and see that and buy some shit there. And then, yeah, just kind of hang out. I got some friends I might see out there and hang out for the afternoon and drive back up to San Francisco. So I'll be out there about a week. And then, yeah, a much needed break from all of the chaos of the last several months. So
That sounds pretty amazing.
yeah.
All right. Well,
you know what
we
else
caught
sounds
up.
amazing?
What else sounds amazing? You should probably do the intro.
Yeah.
Because
So-
I'm looking at my outline, and I've only done we've only done a million of these. Well, not a million. Nine episodes. This is our ninth, I think.
It feels like a million,
No,
but no, like in a good way, in a good way. Hey, everybody, this is Distracto. Welcome. I'm Caleb,
welcome. I'm Brian.
and we are here to distract you from the daily dumpster fire with some weird ass stuff to talk about today.
I love weird ass stuff to talk about. Let's do it.
So, as I mentioned earlier when we were doing our intros, I said, hey, Brian, I'm a painter, and I went into a little bit of that. So, but I kind of want to lay some groundwork really quickly, just so that as we're talking about some of these things, which will be fun and exciting, but we also have some kind of terminology, which you don't really need to remember a whole lot because there's not a whole lot to remember. But I'm going to use some of these phrases occasionally. And this is where it flash forwards to he did not, in fact, use any of these terms. Right. But I wanted to at least bring them up so we had kind of a frame of reference, right? So when I talk about the exciting, fascinating world of pigments,
oh boy,
which everybody's like, oh God, turn this off. No,
Pigment's that purple dragon that lives at Epcot, right? Is that what we're talking about?
That's right, and that whole ride is an acid trip. Let me tell you.
Talk about some pigments, am I right? Ka-ching, everyone! Woo!
Golly, I think I came out purple. But no, that ride, Figment, its journey into imagination at Epcot is a 90s fever dream. You go through it, and I had not been on it at all because I live in Chicago and I haven't been fully into the Disney world at the point when I first went on it. So I kind of had no idea what I was getting into, and I walk into this place. It's near the end of the night, so there's like literally nobody else in the entire building. I didn't see another human until they got me on the little car that you sit in.
Our first trick is isolation. That's right.
You're not joking, man, because that whole place is huge and it's weird. And so then you sit in the car and then you start going through it. And Figment talks kind of like this, and you're like, oh God, it's abrasive. And
oh, Jesus Christ.
So you start going through this, and it just it's all about like being creative and using your imagination to like do stuff. It's kind of like AKA Nutty Professor or whatever that flubber stuff is, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like in that same vein. And man, it's like literally a fever dream and an acid trip, kind of happily married with great sexual chemistry. It's that kind of a ride. And then you get off the ride, and of course you're in a gift shop, and you're like,
why am I wet?
Yeah. There was no water effects on this ride, but I'm drenched.
Jesus. I'm drenched and kind of horny. This is weird.
You know what though? In a weird way, equally valid experiences there. Anyways, we're not talking about Figment. Epcot, I love you. Please give me free passes. Well, I'm gonna try and rein this back in.
Yeah, I completely went off the rails on that one. All right, anyway, I apologize.
Oh no, that's great. That's great. You mentioned Disney, and I just went right off on that.
That's the quickest way to get Caleb off topic is to mention anything.
Absolutely, 100%. So, anyways, we're bringing it back.
Pigments.
So pigments are basically, we all kind of understand like we have pigment in our skin. Pigment is just like the powder. When we're talking about paint, pigment is the powder that you would use that is the insoluble part. So it doesn't break down in water or any of that kind of stuff. That's the powder that is suspended inside the what we call the binder. And the binder or the medium can be anything. Like if you're using egg tempera, they would actually use egg yolk. You would mix the pigment in with the egg yolk, and when the egg yolk dries, it is one of the most durable surfaces. Like for withstanding. Like it's sometimes people talk about it being even stronger than oil paint as far as permanence goes. So, but it's very hard to mix because, of course, you have to have enough egg yolk to make like so you don't make giant batches of paint. You have to make these little bits at a time. So it's very time consuming. Egg tempera is not a very easy to use medium, but like egg yolk, or you can use oils like linseed oil and things like that for oil paints. When I'm a watercolor painter, so often the main medium for that is this thing called gum arabic.
I thought you were going to say water for a second.
Which is, water. I
the
use
main
water.
medium of that is fucking water, you dolts.
Right.
That's what you think it is. It's right in the name.
Well, it's funny because we talk about like egg tempera. Egg tempera talks about like the kind of binder you're using. Egg yolk.
I like my egg tempera over easy, by the way.
Gotcha. I'm more of a soft scrambled kind of guy myself. But
oh yeah, poached, not poached for you.
No.
Speaking of egg, real quick, I went to a photography conference at work, and I had heard about this before, but to dovetail off your egg thing, there is a photographic print or photograph technique that uses something called albumin, which basically is egg using egg yolk as a binder, or not the binder, the surrounding nucleus, or the whites, I should say.
Oh, okay.
As a binder to hold the chemicals for exposing photographs in. So back in the day, they would have eggs as part of the chemical process of making light sensitive paper. So they would coat it in an egg yolk or an egg gelatin, whatever, right, to bind the things together. So that reminded me of that. So albumin is the name of that. Anyway.
Yeah. No, it's amazing what you can use like real natural things for. But like with egg tempera, it's egg that is the binder. When oil paint, it's oils, right? But we call it watercolor paint because calling it like gum arabic or glycerin paint doesn't quite have that same effect. But yeah, gum arabic is a thing that it's a powder that you can get from trees. It's a certain type of tree. I forget what type it is in general, but that's beside the point. Plastics, acrylic paint is just a liquid plastic that it binds it. So when it dries, it's completely waterproof, right? So you've got all of this, all of these various kinds of things that you can suspend the pigments in order to distribute them on your canvas or your paper or whatever surface you're working on, right? So
Caleb, gum arabic comes from also known as gum acacia or gum sudani. Is the Senegal gum is a tree gum exuded by two species in the acacia genus. So there you go.
There we go. I thought it was an acacia tree, but I didn't want to say that.
The Senegalia Senegal. So I imagine it's in Senegal.
Yeah, it's
and also
probably.
the Vachiella, Vachellia, Seyal, Seyal. Those are the trees that gum arabic can be sourced from, apparently. Nice.
Well, so very cool. Go. So there we have
Thanks,
it.
Wikipedia.
Right, exactly. So pigment, again, the powder of the powdered material that provides the color that doesn't break down in whatever, but you are using it to suspend. It's suspended in the medium that you're using to paint with. So then we have this term called light fastness. Right. And this is just simply how durable the pigment is to UV exposure over time. So a lot of the paintings that we see from antiquity, a lot of them have yellowed over time or have faded over time because the pigment itself just isn't meant to last forever. And of course, these people might not have known that because, you aren't able to see paintings from hundreds of years ago when you're in the 1400s and those kinds of things. Those techniques are lost to time, or that people aren't preserving buildings for that long, and nobody is going around keeping those things from being destroyed over time. So there's not as much archivalness to those particular paintings or pigments over time. So light fastness, how durable is the pigment to UV exposure over time? we have things called fugitive colors, which kind of goes into what I was just talking about. A fugitive color is a color that fades quickly or is at least highly susceptible to fading. Even some of the colors and things we use now are still fugitive. In fact, charcoal, like if you were to just draw with charcoal, like lots of people do, charcoal is one of the most fugitive mediums on the planet because eventually the dust of the charcoal that you're drawing with will simply just fall off the paper that you're using. So
Hmm.
unless you fix something with a spray fixative or something after you're done with the drawing to kind of get it to bond with the paper, it's gone. A lot of artists use just straight up hairspray. They won't even bother with
Oh yeah.
that. Yeah, it's just something to kind of act as an adhesive that will dry eventually because you don't want charcoal as you draw with it. You can literally wipe it away, and it's mostly gone because it's just holding to the paper by the tooth on the paper itself on that like real small microscopic level. So eventually
Hmm.
it'll fall off. And then we have archival quality, which is just materials with a very high level of light fastness, or they're considered archival because of that. And they prevent the artwork, the fabrics, the photographs, or whatever from fading in any kind of normal or standard display environment. So those are the things: pigments, light fastness, fugitive colors, and archival quality. So as we're talking about pigments today, those are some kind of things to keep in mind. Do you have any questions so far, Brian?
I thought fugitive colors were ones that did not, in fact, kill their wives and weren't being hunted down by Tommy Lee Jones, but that's okay.
That's more than fair. I
All
love
right.
that. I'm going to start referring to my it was the man with the golden arm.
Dr. Richard Kimball.
But if I see any of
Those
my
are some of the great dad jokes you can hear on the Distracto podcast every Wednesday, guys.
that's all this is eventually by episode 56. That's all that's just going to be me and Brian logging in and telling dumbass jokes.
By episode 56, if no one likes this, it's just going to be us just calling each other with our mics not plugged into anything.
No,
It's just going to be.
Brian's not going to be shaved. He's just going to be like, hey, Caleb.
It's
Yes,
like the podcast stopped 40 episodes ago. What are you doing? It's like, I don't know.
we don't even post these anymore.
I just tell them we post them just to make them feel better.
Oh,
Yeah, no,
my
I don't have
gosh.
any questions. I mean, it's funny, and again, I use the parallel to photography because that's the world that I work in. Very similar as far as degradation and different styles of archivalness, however you want to say it. Different photographic methods will fade over time. In fact, I like I said, took a week-long workshop on it, and there's a lot of different materials and chemicals and paper that do different weird stuff when you expose it to air and sun and UV and just time in general. So yeah, I can see a lot of interesting parallels to the photographic world.
Oh yeah, and I think these days, like when I'm a fan of collecting original art. So I want the
Same.
actual painting, not just a reproduction. It's not
Me
a.
too.
It's really for me. It's a way to stop consuming. I'm just trying to stop consuming as many things that I can't possibly hang up in my studio or around my house. So when I buy an original painting, I am careful to get it matted properly and get it framed up. If those are the conditions that, if it's an oil paint, I don't need to get it matted. But if it's a watercolor painting or a drawing, I definitely do. But the glass is important. The materials that are touching the paper or the canvas are important because if those things are not archival, over time, the pH, of the paper touching the canvas or the pH of the
Hmm.
mat touching the painting or whatever will eventually start leaking those chemicals into the painting, discoloring it wherever it's touching it over time. So if you've ever um, if you've ever had to frame something, or you've decided to change the frame out or the mat or something out of a piece that you own, and you've pulled that off, and whether it's a photograph or a painting, or sometimes even garments, like if you've got something that's non-archival touching a garment for years, and then you pull that off, you're going to have hard lines on that where the acids in that paper have started to dissolve or eat away at the pigments, and it will be faded in those places, or maybe not even faded, just discolored because of that. So so archival stuff is really important. So the glass, you can get UV protected glass that will keep the sun from fading, even in direct sunlight. Up, like 99% of the light is filtered out. So you can still put a painting in your living room where the sun hits it and not have to worry about the light destroying it over time, which is really great. I still don't like to do that because that freaks me the fuck out. Like here's this one piece, and this is the only one that exists, and I'm sticking it right in my fucking window. So that kind of thing, and that's where it's like you got to be really careful about that kind of thing. But it
also helps to have a deep OCD about stuff like that. I tend to take pretty good care of my collectibles, my books, stuff like that, and I'm very aware of just how faded things will get, and I will, if I go by like a storefront and there's like a really cool poster, usually at a comic book stop, because you're getting stuff printed out of like a large scale printer person or whatever. But if it's something like, if there's a shop putting something that you should be framed and should be away from a window in the front, like my heart just like seizes up. I'm like, oh God, like full on panic attack. I'm like, what are you doing? This is an original piece of art. Keep it away from the windows, dear God.
Yeah. And all you have to do is walk to any kind of like small town America, like boulevard or some kind of an area. Like I always see them in these kinds of places where you have those old like 1950s windows that kind of, I don't know how to describe it. It's like you walk in off the sidewalk, and as you're walking towards the door, which is in the middle of the shop center, right? But there's kind of like the door is recessed back a bit, and there's display windows on either side of you as you're walking in. Does that make sense? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they'll have
Makes sense.
They'll have paintings that are right up front, right at the sidewalk area. And they are like the most sun bleached and faded pieces in the world. And it's like, why, dear God, haven't you changed those out? Because it looks awful. They just don't even look good anymore. And or you'll
see the same thing with certain plastics and stuff. Like if you collect toys or some kind of plastic reproductions of something. I have a miniature goalie helmet from my favorite player who played for the Devils, and it's a replica of his mask that he wore. But whoever I bought it from on eBay must have had it next to a window, because half of it is like a yellowed, all the whites on it are very yellowed. So I kind of want to go in there and restore it somehow, but I don't want to also fuck up the rest of it because I don't know what I'm doing. So like hydrogen peroxide, I think, can take care of that in certain spots, but you have to really be careful.
Some of that stuff is really hard to deal with because of the fact that it's what's the word? Oxidization, or it's oxidized on there. So there's some of that stuff that you can't undo once it's done. Restoring would be like painting over it with archival materials, or sanding it down to give a tooth to the surface and then refinishing it. Those kinds of things. I've seen. I'm fascinated by watching these videos online. I've kind of fallen down these rabbit holes of people who restore like vintage posters. So like, I have like an old Metallica poster from, that's like, huge. That was at a record store when, and Justice for All came out or whatever. And it's, got kind of some torn edges, or, it's been folded. And so there's crease lines and stuff. And we want to restore this back to its original sense. And so watching the process of how they do that just blows my mind, and it's amazing. And watching these artisans work on this stuff, and God, I can only imagine how expensive this is to do because of the hours that they, and they condense this all into like a 45-second video, and this is probably like 6 weeks of work on one poster. So it's like, and you're talking about a team of people working on it, not just like one dude or one lady doing it. So it's like, it's mind blowing. So take care of your shit, people. You won't have to do this.
It really doesn't take much. Just remember that generally light exposure for anything that has prints or pigments or whatever in it is gonna be bad. So over time, light will fucking cook whatever it is you have in a way or make it discolored or whatever.
Yeah.
So if you have if it's a print, who cares? But if it's a poster that you really want to have, like a lot of I collect concert posters. I like original, like limited runs of things. So if a band sometimes will make a specific city poster that they tour in. Pearl Jam is famous for this. They do this all the time, and it's been around
I'd love
since
to have
forever.
like an old screen printed Pearl Jam poster. Oh,
I have two actually from the late '90s, and they're worth quite a bit of money on eBay. So
bet. God
yeah.
bless America. I got to see those.
Yeah. Well, one of them is in my office. Anyway, so I like that. If a band goes to the trouble of making like a limited edition thing for a city that I'm going to go see them in, I'm probably going to buy it. But then again, these are all in my basement away from direct sunlight, and they're in frames and they're behind glass. The only light they get exposed to is my fluorescent light or my office LED lights. That's it. So it's very minimal wear and tear on these things.
You know who just started doing those again?
Who's that?
Patton Oswalt.
Yeah, he did them for a while and then he stopped. I guess because of the printing stuff.
Yep.
Maybe it was during COVID. And then, he has great. If you go on Patton Oswalt, I think he's posted all of them on his website or most of them.
Yeah.
You can go see them. Yeah,
and he donates that money. He doesn't keep that. It's not like he's selling them and then, fuck you. You know, he's giving that money away. And which is awesome because the artists are getting paid. Art is being consumed. Patton wins, the artist wins, and then the charities that he's donating this to win. So that's just.
I would love to do a future episode on poster artists because there's a few that I really like. I know Mondo is the big one, but like people that do art for concerts, musicians, comics, whatever, comedians rather, not comic books. But I have a Patton poster, but it was an older one. So he recycled some of the ones from a previous tour. And then so I'm actually going to print out the date that I saw him in and put it over it. But he didn't sign it. He signed it to me, which was cool. I met him briefly after the show. He's very nice.
That's amazing. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, Anyway, I digress. But yeah, so if you have anything you want to protect, be advised that the sun, albeit life-giving, and the reason why we're all here, is also does not like things like prints and colors a lot of times.
Oh, right.
Cook that stuff.
Yeah. Well, just think about it this way too. If you go out into the sun and you're going to be outside just for a few hours, you put sunscreen on because you don't want your skin to cook.
I put Wesson cooking oil on. Actually.
Oh man, I bet you smell like a lovely rotisserie chicken by the time.
I'm like popcorn at the movies, baby, every day. Let's go.
Put that on. Throw a little like seasoned salt and some garlic powder on you. You're good. You're good to go.
Gross. Anyway.
Did that rotisserie chicken just talk to me? Right.
That used to be a person. Great.
But yeah, so you've got to rein this to kind of bring it back to where we're going with this, right? So you've got these archival materials or fugitive colors which fade. Your light fastness is kind of a classification, and they actually use different kinds of like light fastness levels. There's kind of a spectrum, and they kind of right on your tube of paint that you buy, it should have some kind of an indication of how light fast or fugitive it is. So you're getting to know that kind of right at the beginning. But before we talk about like modern pigments, and let's talk about like some of these pigments, like where they came from and how do we gather these pigments, Brian? It's not like somebody's just sitting in a lab all the time, like cooking weird things and going, well, let's grind this up and see what it makes. But that's kind of
I go to the pigment store to gather my pigments. Or Amazon.
That's fine.
Whichever is the least inconvenient for me.
Well, I started recently, doing that bougie thing where, I paint in watercolors. So I've always had this idea of wanting to make my own. So I bought the ground pigments, just the regular pigments. And now I have like a nice little assortment of probably 8 or 9 different colors. And I can either make them straight like that, or I can start mixing and matching and making my own colors just to what I want. And that's been cool. I've only made one custom color, and I'm still tweaking and learning it. So it's fun. It's labor intensive, but not in a really cumbersome way. So it's really kind of nice for that. But where do these pigments come from? Where are we gathering these? And the answer to that is we gather them from just about anywhere. So like one of the biggest colors that we use all the time, and it's a great mixing color because it's so powerful and potent. We get this natural color from is ultramarine, and we use ultramarine for blues. It's like an ultramarine blue is like it's a rare stone that it comes from, which is the lapis lazuli, and we literally grind it into powder and get rid of all the impurities, and we're left with this color that then we mix with whatever. But it's a rare stone. This isn't like it's a let me go in my backyard and look in the gravel out back, around my thing, see if I can find some lapis lazuli, So
Oh, you mean you just don't have it growing all over the place? I got a bunch of it. It's right next to my tomatoes.
right. But this has been used since forever, antiquity, right? But here's the problem. It's also only found in like one place.
Like
Where
that
would
blue,
you
like
guess
that
you
blue
find
fire
this?
in Batman Begins up in that mountainside.
You've got to go up there, Bruce.
Got
You've
the
got to
League
go
of
up there and
Shadows.
get
Go get while you're up there. If you could pick me up some lapis lazuli, that would be great. I'm working on a lovely painting for my girlfriend.
Exactly. So where do you think you find this?
I'm guessing if it's like a very colorful flower, like somewhere in the rainforest, perhaps, maybe.
Well, no, because it's not a flower. Remember, it's a stone. Lapis lazuli is a rare stone.
Like I said, I say
It's a
flower, you
stone.
say stone. It's the same thing. I don't know. Maybe I have to mine it. I would guess you have to mine it, right?
They do have to mine it, but
I'll cut the part that I
It's-
said flower out because I feel like a stupid asshole now. So
it's okay. All right, so Brian, where are we going to find this rare stone, this lapis lazuli? Where are we going to find this? It's only
Well, if you-
found in the mountain area of what country?
the mountain area of eastern New Jersey.
That's
So-
perfect. No, if you were going to say modern day Afghanistan in Iran, you would be correct.
Oh, I was not. That wouldn't have been my 10th guess. I don't even know. I'm not good with mountainous regions across the world.
It's okay. Iceland? I mean, that would be equally valid, right? Because of volcanic activity, probably making all kinds of crystals and gems in there.
We get
but
it.
think
You're
ab-
good at mountainous regions, Caleb. Whatever.
So
him
think about
brag.
this though. You've got this stone. It only really forms in one place and can be found there. And in antiquity, all of like the hustle of trying to like find out where it is and getting it, and then dealing with having to ship it back home,
Mhm.
grind it into a powder, and ensure that there's no like chunks of bad things in it or whatever. Like you've got to get rid of all these impurities, right?
So
And
back in the
according
day,
to-
I can imagine this being a very, like a very rich people aristocracy color. Like if
Yeah.
you're doing commissions for like the king, they would pay for you to get all these great colors, and this would be one of the ways to get it or something.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And in fact, what's crazy about this is, you know what? Hang on. Let me send you.
The
I'm gonna
coordinates
send
of where
you-
you can dig up lapis lazuli at home. If you follow Caleb's 5 easy steps. First, go to some mountain that has it. Bring a shovel. All right.
Okay, I'm sending you my notes for the episode, and at the very bottom of the notes is a link. So yeah, so if you can kind of guess that this is super rich people only because of the finding, shipping it back home, refining it into a pigment, and then the process of turning that pigment into a paint to then be bought by an artist or an artisan to then use as paint or dyes or whatever. So either for fabrics or for painting. I mean, this is an expensive thing, right? So this isn't something that your average dude is going to be able to make. This is something that requires wealth and time and a whole host of people to go gather the materials and bring back. So you can imagine that this was not seen very often. But yeah, that's lapis lazuli turns into what we modernly, or in modern day, we call like ultramarine blue. And
And Caleb, I'm looking at this picture. I didn't mean to interrupt, but this is a picture from the 1640s. It's called Sassoferrato, is the artist, I guess. and used this ultramarine blue for a piece called Virgin in Prayer, and it's a woman with a white or a linen hood, and she's got this vibrantly blue shawl or cape that looks like it's it looks like you can reach out and touch it. It's it's like a satiny blue, very gorgeous, almost borderline into the purple sort of tonality with it. And underneath she's got this red, I guess, tunic on, but it's really, really pretty. And I can imagine, I guess it's an oil painting. It looks like an oil painting.
Most likely, yeah.
And then, it pops right off the page. It's very not faded at all. It's really pretty.
Yeah, I mean, it's this beautiful painting, and and that's a testament to the power of that pigment. That pigment is used in such a way that it's just, you can see the texture. You like you said, it's like almost satiny. Like I can tell, or like my brain can kind of predict what it would feel like to touch that fabric. That's how good.
Oh, I'm going to touch it.
Painted.
They don't like it when you touch it at the museum.
No, they don't. Or throw soup at it. They don't like that either.
Well, I mean, that would be my next connection of, I love this painting. Here's some Campbell's tomato soup. It's like, what is happening?
So,
unless you're, I guess, Andy Warhol.
But like when you see a painting like this and you see how it says, in this article that I'm kind of referencing, which is from medium.com, and the article is called "The Most Expensive Colors and Rarest Pigments in the World." It's by Marina Vietkina, and it was from January of 2022. So this is a fairly recent article about these kinds of pigments and the history of this kind of stuff. But it does say, there's a little side note here, and it says, and although this pigment is quite stable in light, some masterpieces that contained this pigment in the blue details of the image gradually lost their initial glow and brightness. So although we're seeing this, I don't know if this painting we're seeing is a restored version of that, or if it is like, if this is it's lost some of its vibrance. Because if it's lost its vibrance and it's still that amazing, I can't imagine how amazing it looked when it was done. It's like, I can't
when
see
it was
it.
painted, it just blinds people. Oh my God, it's so bright.
Right. And this is centuries later. I mean, this was painted somewhere between 1640 and 1650. So who knows, but it's currently, as of the date of this article, it's currently in the National Gallery in London in the UK. So you can kind of,
where all the alleged stolen artists from.
Right. Exactly.
No, that's the British Museum.
So
yeah, I took a shot at you, Britain. Maybe quit stealing other people's shit.
So it basically, it becomes really hard to source this material after a while, right? And it's expensive. So we're going to try and find workarounds, because if the demand for something becomes that great, and its expense stays that way, we're going to find workarounds to get that color in another way. So in the 1710, they invented a color, which basically is the first modern synthetic pigment, which was produced by the oxidization of ferrocyanide salts. And it's called Prussian blue. And I love Prussian blue.
I've heard of Prussian blue.
I do not use, in my painting palette, I do not use ultramarine blue. I do not care for it as a watercolor paint, because it is very granular, and the graininess of it does not dissipate. And that's because it's real lapis lazuli, right? And so,
but when you say ferrous, so they're using like rusted elements, like, because ferrocyanide oxidation, it just calls to mind rust. It's like when metal rusts. Is
right.
So I guess salt has the same effect.
Yeah,
or something?
I don't know how that works, because I'm not sure what the difference between ferrocyanide salts are, and like regular salt. It sounds like it's way more like caustic, right?
Poisonous.
Yeah. So
maybe you don't put that on your pizza.
I would not want to stick my hands in it or butt. But basically, Prussian blue completely replaced the need for lapis lazuli at that point. So in the early 19th century, they came up with cobalt blue for lighter hues of that same color. And so that's where we've got we've seen that, like, oh man, but it took how many years? I mean, it took so, whoever knows up from the time, I mean, this painting again, the Virgin in Prayer was from 1640-ish. And so it's, several decades later, they are able to reproduce a similar hue, synthetically and come
For
up
a
with,
lot cheaper.
yeah. Yeah. So now you're going to start seeing it appear all the time. And which is what's really fascinating about this is you can start dating eras of painting just to the colors that were being used because of the
Ones that were available at the time.
Yeah. And also how faded have these pigments become? Because there are pigments that we've used that were used hundreds and hundreds of years before that don't exist anymore. Like we have to.
It's like when Crayola only released the first box of crayons and there was like 10 colors.
Right.
And then when you were a kid in the 80s, you got the one that had like a billion colors, but also the sharpener in the back.
The sharpener was the biggest lie on the face of this planet because all it did was eat my crayons.
I don't know. As a kid, I thought it was the tits. Well, yeah, that was a ploy by Big Crayola to get you to buy more crayons.
There was no sharpener. It was literally like a gerbil back there just eating the tip of the crayon.
It was that Cabbage Patch Kid doll that we talked about in an earlier episode. You just fed your crayon into it, and then you have to like get another one.
There it is. That's all it was. The fucking Cabbage Patch Kid.
Well, again, making parallels to photography, same way. If you get a photograph, you can determine, and I have a whole guide that this workshop provided us with, that you can determine the era given of the clues in the photograph itself, like how much fading it is, what the material is, what the patina of the paper is, and what was available at the time. So you can say, oh, this photograph came from definitively this era, maybe not the exact date, because you take a negative and you can, you can enlarge it and print it later. But given the clues from the physical item, similar to a painting, you can tell when it's from.
That's amazing. This stuff just fascinates me. Like we take these things for granted because they're just so commonplace. You can get any color of t-shirt or any color of whatever you're looking for, mugs or plates or anything. And so we don't really think about where does this color come from? How do we get it? Or how long has it been around? I mean, the more I think about those kinds of things, the more I go, how fascinating are the other things that exist in the world that I just have no clue about? Because I'm not thinking about it.
Definitely. You go back to like cave people times where it's like, what did they have to work with? They had ash from a fire. They had blood from something they killed. They had maybe yellow from flowers or something, or that kind of stuff, pollen, whatever was around that they could paint on a cave wall with and tell a story. So it is really fascinating.
Well, speaking of blood, there's a couple things here that we're going to move into. We're moving on from lapis lazuli.
You're talking about that Kiss comic where they put their blood into it? That's pretty cool.
No, we're looking for the color that we use now, or the pigment name is now cinnabar. Okay, cinnabar is a red color that is often, of course, red in nature is perceived as a danger or a warning sign, right? But it's this beautiful and vibrant red with some orange hues. So it's definitely more of an orangey, warm red as opposed to like a violety red where it's a red still, but it's got some, blue mixed in there. So it's slightly on the colder or the cooler side of the spectrum for reds. So cinnabar is this nice, lush, beautiful red. But it has a historic kind of mythos attached to it, if you will. Cinnabar was once referred to as something called dragon's blood.
Ooh. I think that's one of the flavors of the street wines that we got.
But I can only hope so. So dragon's blood, now of course we call it cinnabar, as I said, was kind of an exotic, deep color, right? And it was, it basically, it says it was actually a bright red plant resin harvested from the Draconea trees.
So dragon is in the tree name, basically. Draconea.
Right. So, but it's dragon's blood, right? And it's basically, it's the historic source for the pigment vermilion. It's a mineral born as a result of like volcanic activity and high alkaline hot springs, right? And you see those kinds of, like, if you look around in pictures around where there's natural, like volcanic or hot springs activity, you'll see kind of as the water gets near the edges, you'll start seeing like these almost like rings of colors, blues, yellows, oranges, reds that are kind of baked into the landscape around that. And that's where all those minerals, that high acidic content in the water and the alkaline, that stuff is changing the environment because of its constant exposure to those chemicals and those in the water.
Mhm.
So you can source those things for pigment, right? But yeah, it basically a red sulfide of mercury. It can change its pattern due to the reaction with chlorinated salts in the air and sulfur and mercury and salt. I mean, so there's like it's basically like alchemy here.
Yeah.
You're taking alchemists were convinced though, like you remember they thought mercury was this transcendent thing that if we ingest mercury or in
Or
the emperor
quicksilver,
of
as
China.
it was known as.
Yeah, I mean quicksilver, exactly,
Mhm.
right? I mean, I'm fascinated with like the pre-science era of alchemy where it was like mysticism and observation and
Mhm.
thought starting to come together. So it's that like right before science went out with its, like this is how we're going to systematically approach understanding things. Alchemy is like, but what if we did have cocaine ghosts in our blood?
I'm
And
still
they're
convinced
like,
we do
yeah.
have cocaine ghosts in our blood.
Right. But you've got so they were convinced mercury was this thing that would just, give us immortality or whatever, or we're
Sure.
trying to turn lead into gold, which is the most famous of the
Everyone's trying to
alchemical.
sell something, even back in the day.
Oh God, right? And so basically it was like both solid and liquid, both, heaven and earth, life and death, that kind of whole thing. And it's crazy, right? So if you could transform this cinnabar with these different things into different like concentrations of this pigment and this color. And so it's just this fascinating. It was used for so many different things outside of painting even, right? But
By the way, I would go to a place called Cinnabar, provided they had Cinnabon and alcohol. That would be very cool.
I love I love that.
Come on, Cinnabon. You're missing out on a great opportunity here. Get your liquor license. Let's go.
Right. And so between like it, I think the part of the mystique of it all is that you have the cinnabar used by alchemists to make quicksilver, right? And that's that's how they called mercury. That's what they called mercury. You've got that going on there. You're making paints out of it. You're doing these things, and so no wonder like it got this mystical name, dragon's blood, because dragons being this mythical beast and this magic, having magical or otherworldly properties to it. So it's just this. It's fascinating that this color could do that, or where they're harvesting it from. And if you're looking at the notes and you travel down there, you've got this. Here's a picture of the Titian that he painted.
Oh,
who's
yeah.
a particular
Titian
fan
or
of
Titian?
this.
I like Titian. Is it
Yeah,
Titian or Titian?
Titian. Tashin, you say Titian, I say Tashin.
His name's Tommy. It's Tommy Painter. Let's go.
Mr.
Titian.
Dr. T over here.
Or
was a particular
Titian,
fan
if you
of
want to
that.
be a little saucy about
Right.
it. Yeah, it's a
Hey.
beautiful painting. Although I wish they put some clothes on that baby.
I'm so tired. The baby's even over it. He's like, "Would you just put the damn clothes on me, please?" And mom can't even look at his
It's like, Mom's got this awesome Cinnabar robe here. Or
right.
whatever.
Yeah, and but you see the difference between like say this. Now, granted, this painting was painted somewhere between 1512, 1516.
Great year.
Yeah, and so you have this, the Virgin with the Christ, the baby, on her lap, and then her
That baby is
hand
pretty over
servant.
it, though. Oh, Jesus.
That baby is like the baby looks like he has the face of like a 43-year-old accountant, and he's just like, God damn it, I'm not working late on this Friday.
Or my niece when you turn off Paw Patrol. That's what he looks like. It's like
Oh, he's bring back the talking dogs, Brian.
what have you done?
Yeah. So, I mean, but yeah, it's this luscious red. I mean, it's this deep lovely red color. Um, it still doesn't look as beautiful to me though as our Virgin in Prayers Ultramarine,
No, it's
which just
definitely, there is some fading happening in this one. And again, we're looking at this on a screen. I don't know what it looks like in real life because I am not in
right,
Italy where this is kept, in Traversatolo, Italy, which I'm not quite sure where that is, but go check it out.
right.
Yeah, so it does look very, there's yellowing in the skin, and it could just be the style of Titian, the way he painted it, but it looks like,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah,
not
and
as not
remember
as
that a
lush.
lot of these things are what are the pigments that are available and common in that time? Who is he painting it for? Did they have the money? Because they were fronting the bill. It's not like
Mhm.
Titian was the one out there going, "Well, I have all these colors available." He's like, "If you want me to do this, it's going to cost you this much money because I have to source this material. You're the one paying for it."
Yeah.
So a lot of times it didn't even matter. These guys were rich enough to have a guy spend a year painting one of these things. Well, then by
I wonder if
God, they
they I wonder
can
if they
get the
kept him
colors
on
they
their
want.
property like the ornamental hermits. They're just like, here's my painter shed, and he's working on a bitch and page painting of a
Who's
Madonna
that?
and
Oh,
Child
that's
for me.
Titian. Don't talk to him. Yeah, he's painting. You get back to work, monkey.
I'm not gonna give you any more Cinnabar if you keep this shit up.
Right, exactly. He's just dangling little baggies of it in front of the window, and making the slice your throat motion, with his fingers.
I mean, they were from Italy, so
Yeah,
that makes sense.
there you go. Well, and it's kind of in kind of a weird way, right? So there's these things always kind of creep me out, right? So there's a particular color we use today called cochineal red,
Mm.
and it is like a carmine, and we get that by crushing these insects, and we have to use astronomical amounts of these insects. We have to crush
Or just
them
one
into a
really big one.
right. Oh God, what is this? This isn't like fuck. I can't remember the name. This isn't
Starship Troopers.
Troopers. Yeah. You know what to do, Rico.
That's where
But-
you mean the documentary Starship Troopers? Yeah,
The documentary, yes,
that happened.
That's all.
You don't
about,
remember that?
like-
It was all over the news, man. It's crazy.
Oh my gosh, I love it. But yeah, so here they're like crushing this insect as a natural source of the carmine red dye. But it would, you can imagine how much, like in order to get like a gram of this stuff, imagine how many you'd have to like completely destroy in order to do that. And there are definitely other types of red that are used like that. Like there are sometimes like it comes from the mucus gland of this insect, or that insect, but this animal, like the snail. And so you would have to destroy like 10,000 snails to get like a gram of this.
I just imagine some like Italian alchemist just cracking open bugs, like, nope, not this one. Nope, this color is ugly. Nope, not this one. Oh, and it bit me a little bit, son of a bitch.
Not happening. Sorry for
Just
my
like this pile of carcasses on his desk, just trying to find a color.
Nope. That's not a way we're gonna find it at.
Pass me the snail.
Oh God! but
Sorry,
yeah,
Italians, that was a terrible stereotype of your accent. You have a lovely culture, and I would like to live there one day.
So yeah, so I mean, you've got all of these like different ways that people are harvesting colors that then they're going to take. I mean, like with mucus, we're not having to grind anything up, but we do need to like boil it and then
Sure.
let it dry, and so then we can harvest just like the dry pigment from that. And so there's this whole process of finding these things, right?
It's
One of my favorites is this color that, oh man, I mean, it's a good one. It's a good one. You ready for this one? Because it's
Hit me with it.
Mummy Brown.
Tell me they sourced this from Mummies.
Fuck yeah, they did. They would
did.
literally for Mummy Brown, which was something.
This further proves my point that people were far more creative and inventive before the fucking internet.
Right. So
like, who the fuck thinks of this? Like, I'm gonna go to the museum. I'll be right back. What are you doing? Nothing. Just looking at some mummies. Just breaks off an arm. Like, I gotta go back to my lab. Bye.
So right. So you've got mummies, copious amounts of mummies laying
Yeah, a lot
around,
of dead
right?
ones.
And
Crusty mummies.
people used to think weird stuff about mummies. Like sometimes they would think like, oh, mummies, if you eat these mummies, and people
no.
did that. People would
Mm-mm.
eat fucking mummies. They yeah, people equally disgust and fascinate me.
It is constantly astounding that we are still around as a species. It really is.
Could you imagine like something just looking down? I'm like, so wait, they take their dead, they wrap them up for thousands of years,
They bury them with a bunch of gold and stuff and like statues of cats.
they dig them up, and then they eat them.
Yep. That's normal, right?
Yeah, and there's this weird cat statues. Right, that's how they did it. We need to eliminate this whole species.
There was a whole lot
now,
of what if questions back in the day. What happens if we eat a mummy? It's probably nothing good. Don't do that. It's gross.
So, mummy brown, sometimes known as Egyptian brown or caput mortuum.
Ooh, that sounds like a cool enchantment you could have cast on somebody.
Right. I cast caput mortuum.
That's like stay put and then lay like a mummy or whatever.
Right. It's a shade of brown, right? Obviously, right? It's got a decent transparency to it. It's somewhere between the spectrum of like if you had raw umber, which is like a kind of it's a brown, but it's just like it's hard to describe that on screen. But raw umber, and then they have something called burnt umber, which is the raw umber pigment just burned
Darker.
Yeah, they literally just roast it longer, and now it's burned, and so it's the pigment takes on a darker hue.
I just glanced at this article, and then they said the demand was high. That sometimes there was a shortage of mummies, which is a weird sentence to say.
We're running out of ancient dead people to grind up and make paint out of.
The only time I could see that being appropriate nowadays, if you go to like a museum of Egyptian antiquities and like your review on Yelp was, it was cool, but there was kind of a shortage of mummies. Like that would be the part of that I would see would be accurate, not for grinding and making a color out of.
Exactly. Well, I mean, but think about this too. Like, right. So you're before mummy brown was used as a pigment, right? According here to this Wikipedia article I'm sourcing. It says Egyptian mummies had a reputation for medicinal qualities as well. Mm-hmm. So people would literally like walk into their doctor and be like, I've got this toothache. And this doctor had the balls to just go, here, rub some mummy dust on it.
Have you tried a mummy? Because that'll help. What the fuck?
Or, doctor, I'm suffering.
Can I get a second opinion?
Right. I'm suffering from dysentery. Try mummy.
Have you tried rubbing mummy on it? No, because that's insane.
Right. How do I rub mummy in my intestines?
Well, this is also from the era where I think the lines of, and I could be wrong about the year, but I know back in the day, like doctors and barbers were kind of the same thing. Like you'd go to a barber for surgery, which is bonkers. So it's like, okay, shouldn't you go to school for this if you're going to cut me open and, shove a mummy inside of me or whatever? That's not great.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
it's so fucking crazy. Why have we not been extinct so many years ago? It's so weird. It's so fucking weird.
So this is the crazy part too. I just want you to think about how long we've been using mummies for paint and medicine.
Any amount of time is too long for this.
Right?
Any amount of time.
So here we go. So we have documents from 1594 that mention using it, but that document credits a document dating back to the 12th century.
Oh my God. Well, see, I believe that a little bit more, but 1500s, I mean, you're living in buildings and stuff at that point.
Right. But somewhere in the year, 1100, somebody went, we should really start doing something with all these mummies laying around.
Yeah,
right?
we're just chock full. We got an ass full of mummies out here. What do you want to do with this crate of mummies? I don't know, grind them up.
So you've got a lot of these mummies that are from Egypt or the Canary Islands. By the way, both human and feline mummies, because of course Egyptians would mummify cats because they were divine. So they would do this. So they would take the flesh of these things and mix it with a little white pitch and some myrrh. Probably just the myrrh was for scent, because it's a very that's something like that. Anyways, the earliest recorded use of actual mummy brown as a paint goes back to 1712. Which a shop
so much later than 1500s.
A shop in Paris was selling it. So
they were selling the actual paint itself then.
Well, they were selling they sold paints, they sold varnishes and powdered mummy.
Okay.
So Yeah.
essence of mummy.
And then in late 1700s, 1797, there was a book published called The Compendium of Colors, which was a London publisher, proclaimed that the finest brown was used as a glaze, right, by Benjamin West, president of the Royal Academy, right? And he said that this was the finest brown is the flesh of the mummy. The most fleshy are the best parts.
Man, they were really sold on this mummy thing.
Yeah. So,
well, I guess if you have a whatchamacallit, what's the word I'm looking for? If you have a exorbitant amount of these things laying around, and I don't know, it's just so weird. Like, you think there'd be other steps before you went to let's cut up this dead guy and see if he makes good colors.
Man, like, I mean, I've got some dirt.
I would see like taking human feces would be the step before this to me. Like, it would be like, well, my poop is this color, so maybe that'll work. I don't know.
Right. There's so many other browns to harvest. I mean, you've got plant materials. The bark of a tree, walnuts. Sure. I know, like, my dad is he's an amateur painter and model builder. And he will often make his own walnut dye. He literally just goes out and collects walnuts that he finds walking around. No, he soaks them in, and like he'll fill a bucket full of them and then put water, and I don't know if there's something else in it, and he just lets them steep for a long time, and then basically it turns it into like a walnut ink. And he does this and then uses it. So I mean, there are all kinds of ways to do this. Grinding up mummies is like not even on the list. Right?
I wonder if people just like cut out the middleman and just broke off a mummy finger and used that to draw with. Like, just would it have the same effect? Like,
somebody goes, well, I'm out of pencils. Let me just stick this mummy finger in my pencil sharpener and I'll just draw with that because that's logical.
Not the crayon sharpener, because that'll eat your mummy finger right up.
That's just a Cabbage Patch Kid.
I did not know. I had no idea. Now, I knew like colors were, a sign of prestige and they were very expensive because they're so hard to source, but I had no idea that they were fucking using mummies, dude. That's wild.
So
that's wild.
There's another one that's equally as funny. And again, you would kind of go, how did we figure this out? But there's a color called Indian yellow. And I want to stop you here. No, it is not made from Indians. We're not doing that. It's not, so this.
All right. I don't know if I believe you, but continue.
At this point, I'll believe anything Caleb tells me these come from. This is made from real aliens,
Yep, locally sourced aliens.
So Indian yellow is a complex pigment these days. Like it's a mixture of euxanthic acid salts. It's euxaxathone, which is some kind of says sulfonated euxaxathone. I can't even say the word right. It sounds like I'm just saying saxophone.
I tried to play the euxaxathone and I was not very good at it.
Right. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. Anyways, it's this lovely.
No, it sounds good. I'm looking at the spelling. It looks like you pronounced it correctly.
Right. It's really this I'm trying to think of how to describe it. Like almost like a school bus yellow. So it's yellow that verges on the edges of orange.
So the curtains in this painting.
Yes.
Right, where the light hits.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you can see it, how it's got this yellow, but like I said, like a school bus yellow kind of color.
And the painting in question, if you'd like to follow along, it is a Johannes Vermeer and the Woman Holding a Balance from 1664 from the National Gallery of Art in Washington, D.C.
So this painting specifically, they actually made a documentary called Tim's, Tim''S, Tim's Vermeer. And it was this friend of Penn Jillette who liked to paint, but he wasn't a painter. And he recreated this painting and Penn thought this was fascinating. So they did a documentary of his friend recreating this painting using a technique.
The same one in the picture?
Yes. Mm-hmm. So it's an interesting. So this is a very famous Vermeer painting. I mean, most of Vermeer's paintings are famous, but beside the point. But yeah, so take a look at that, and you can kind of see the light coming in the window in the upper left portion of that painting is definitely where we're seeing a lot of that Indian yellow come into play. But it wasn't always made from these euxaxothone.
Yep. That's exactly what it's made out of.
Jeez, I cannot say that word to save my soul.
I think euxaxophone is right. Euxanthone. I don't know.
Yeah,
Anthony.
who knows?
That's what it's called. Anthony.
Well, Anthony, this pigment here, it wasn't always made from this stuff. In fact, the origins of Indian yellow are far more gross, because what it is they found that if you fed cattle a strict diet of mango leaves.
Again, how are they figuring this shit out?
Yeah, this is it, right? Because when I think of cattle, I don't think of them as eating mango leaves.
Also, where do you get them? Because I don't think mangoes are indigenous to Central Europe at this time, are they?
Right. So, but if you feed cattle enough mango leaves, and just mango leaves, like,
right,
that's it. We're not feeding them any like grass or.
They're on a fad diet for cows only. A strict diet of mango leaves.
These cows will pee, and they would collect the urine, boil it down until it was a thick paste, and they would use that mixed with the binder. So you can only imagine how this smelled.
This smell must really, really smell bad.
Right. God, I can't go near it. The ammonia boiling off this stuff is just stinging to the nostrils.
We got invited over to Tim's house, but he's mixing paints this weekend, and I don't want to be anywhere near that shit.
No, but like, could you imagine harvesting the snail mucus to make a red, and then harvesting, mummies to make your brown, and then cow piss to make your Indian yellow.
I want to read the guy's notes for the trial and error that he went through to come to the conclusion that cows eating mango leaves pee a good color yellow to paint with. Like, I want to know what the other steps were to this.
I fear another day has been wasted. We have tried coconut shells, but it is not getting the right consistency. So
I tried screaming yellow at the painting, but it did not work.
Lesai, back to the drawing board, as they say.
Sometimes mango leaves will not urinate on their own, so you have to give them to something else.
Yeah, this cow ain't gonna piss itself, everybody. Actually, it will, but we gotta feed it these.
Okay, that's a phrase that we need to bring into the zeitgeist. Hey, man, this cow ain't gonna piss itself. What? I'm pretty sure that's what cows already do.
I think Malort has that one, but I think it's Malort. These pants
aren't
going to shit
fight
themselves.
My dad. No, Malort's I'm going to fight my dad. My dad is not going to fight himself.
My dad's not going to fight himself. Which is, hey, if I had a saying for my paints, I would do something like that, right?
If you do a yellow, please call it "This cow ain't going to piss itself."
This cow. What paint did you buy from Caleb? This one's called "This Cow Ain't Gonna Piss Itself."
And this brown is called "Definitely Not Mummy," allegedly, with a bunch of asterisks next to it.
So we've got a bunch of these, these weird colors, right? And so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on some of these other ones, but here's some of these other colors that, when I was looking through, these are some of the honorable mentions, right? We've got a couple called Tyrian purple, right?
From Tyrion Lannister.
Right. It's Tyrian with an A at the end, Tyrian purple. And this color is one of the ancient Rome's most prestigious color, right? So when we think about ancient Rome, purple was one of those colors that kind of showed
it's the color of royalty.
Yeah, exactly. And it was extremely difficult to get, which is why it became royal. Only people who could afford it could use it. Again, like lapis lazuli, like some of these other pigments like that. This is where that snail mucus comes from, right?
So weird.
Yeah. So it says here that ancient Rome's most prestigious color was extracted from the mucus glands of predatory sea snails, otherwise called murex. It took over 10,000 crushed snails to yield a single gram of the dye.
And how much is a gram in paint terms? Like, how much could that use?
Not very much.
That's nothing, right? That's nothing.
No, it's not. It's very little. So this resulted in one of the most horrifyingly pungent stenches of any kind of production for paint. Could you
And
just
a severe dent in the predatory sneeze-tail population, I'm sure.
right? So Tyrian purple. I mean, what a weird
That's so
weird
crazy.
thing, right? So imagine garments just made out of this stuff, and you'd have to have enough. A gram ain't gonna do anything. So you've got to like really so like millions and millions of predatory sea snails are gone.
Well,
so,
we got to go down to the snail silo so you can get your dye for your dumb robe.
yeah, God, Caleb. Just wear blue today.
I mean, at least I could pee on you and make a nice yellow, but no, someone's got to be purple.
That. Well, there is a song by the band Go-Go Bordello that is really amazing. Have you heard of Go-Go Bordello?
I have heard of them, yeah.
They have this song called Start Wearing Purple. And
well, not this kind of purple, because it's going to kill those snails.
It is such an amazingly, if you just want to have a kick-ass day, start your day with that song. It's like It's like gypsy punk. That's kind of how I would describe Go-Go Bordello.
Apparently their stage show is something to behold. I have not seen them live yet.
I saw them at Riot Fest here in Chicago, probably a decade or 15 years ago, something like that. The only time I've ever been to Riot Fest. And it was amazing because dude had there's an old dude on stage playing the violin, and then this guy comes out like Jack fucking Sparrow, and he's dancing around with his shirt off. I mean, it's a weird and exciting thing, and
it's probably how they came up with this color back in the day. There was a guy playing a weird guitar, and Jack Sparrow was there, just like, or whatever the ancient equivalent of the Jack Sparrow would be.
Well, so we have Tyrian purple here. We have a color called Shields green, or otherwise known as Paris green. Right, that sounds fairly innocuous. So these are like vibrant greens, right? And these are like very lush and lovely, vibrant greens. But they make them using copper arsenite, which is highly toxic.
Oh yeah, because copper, when it oxidizes, it becomes green. So that makes sense.
Yes.
They're probably just scraping this off the copper, right?
Right. So you can kind of think about it naturally looking like something like how the Statue of Liberty looks because of her oxidization, right? Or like a really old ass penny that you find. That's
here you go, Americans. Here is this horribly oxidized statue. Enjoy.
Right. Enjoy. Let's go make some more snail purple.
Yep.
So again, they famously used Shields green in wallpapers, paintings, and all that stuff. And its dampness, the dampness of that pigment, it would cause the pigments to release lethal arsenine gas.
Oh, cool. So that's what you want when you're looking at your painting or wearing a robe or whatever.
Right. So the green fairy is not only absent from France, but is also their fucking paints. So if you were alive in Paris in the 17 to 1800s, you were just high and dead by 30.
Does anyone else smell bitter almonds? Because that's what I'm tasting. Is it everywhere? Is that what arsenic?
Am I about to die? Right.
Everything's really green, but I think it's because of all the drugs that I'm on currently.
Oh my God. So yeah, I mean, so these are some of the weird colors and the fake science, not fake science, but I'm not a scientist. I'm not an expert in these pigments. So I wish I could talk more about them, but I'm just kind of talking about, some of these that are, the ones that I remember being taught about in art history and specifically by some of the painters who taught me how to paint. But my favorite, not my favorite. I lied. It's not my favorite. One of my favorites. No, I'm sorry. I don't mean to lie. I said my favorite, but my favorite's actually Mummy Brown.
As everyone's favorite should be.
But we had Dragon's Blood, which we talked about that. But Ox Blood is an actual color. Ox blood, they would literally.
My friend had a car that was an ox blood color.
Yep, and they would literally, the original pigment, which now is not that way, but they would actually just drain, blood out of an ox, and they would boil it down and refine it, and they would use the brownish red color left from that as a paint. Mm-hmm. So. Somewhere there's a poor little ox with lots of Band-Aids all over him, as they've just been
very thin, anemic ox.
Either that, yeah, or there's some kind of vampire ox out there, I don't know.
You can
I
tell
don't know.
by the cape that he wears that he's a
Right.
vampire ox.
Exactly, and he only comes out at night. So
I'm looking at this website, and you guys should check it out because it is interesting. There's a painting of from, I don't know when it says it's from, but it's Hercules dog discovers purple dye by Theodore Van Rulden, Rhulden. And basically it's Hercules on a beach with his dog who has murdered a bunch of shelled animals. And it's supposed to be like the dog's supposed to have like a purple dye around his muzzle, but in the painting they don't have it. It's red, so I don't know why they didn't use purple in here. Maybe they didn't discover it yet, or
well,
it was too
sometimes
expensive for this.
again,
painting.
sometimes these things. Remember, purple is a combination of blues and reds, and so in some of these paintings, if it was a purple color when it was painted, over time, if the blue was a fugitive color, it will have faded. The blue will have faded away, leaving behind the red. So a lot of times these purple colors or colors that we see in paintings aren't the colors that they originally were. And there's you can go up and look at some of these paintings in museums and you're like, why is this called, something in blue when it looks like a different color or whatever? And that's because the pigments,
it's faded.
Yeah, it's just over time, and even the most light fast materials aren't immortal. They're not going to last 10,000 years. They will disappear.
Unless you use immortal blue, which is the classic immortal color.
Yeah, but you have to source that directly from God, and I believe it's like a UFC cage match in order to get him.
Well, they have those at the White House now, guys. So that's big.
They're so commonplace now.
If you go to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, you can get tickets for the next one.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, this picture of Hercules and his dog, I just imagine him saying, "Who's a good boy? Kill all those snails. Who's a good boy?"
Did you get it? And the dog's muzzle's all bloody too. Like he's been going to town on this damn snail.
He looks so happy. And then Hercules is like, "Man, this is a great day. Look at all these dead snails."
Look at all these dead ass snails just laying around on the beach. They're all about to get some of them are already being swept back into the surf, and some of them are just
kind of wasteful,
there.
really.
Yeah,
I think this dog just has a vendetta against snails.
Right. So yeah,
it's so crazy though. I mean, going back to the whole thing, like the steps that it took to arrive at the conclusion that this was the best way to source this particular color is what I'm fascinated with. Like the trial and error period must have been so crazy,
right? So
because the end result's insane. So it's
so imagine this: you live in Georgia. I know how red the soil is.
Sure, yeah,
where clay. You live, right? So what? So you could easily go outside and grab yourself, a couple of big chunks of that clay. You could take it inside. You could
order a mummy and then get going.
Well, you could take it. You could take that clay and you could bake it until it's dried thoroughly through. Then you could grind it up. Get rid of any of the chunks of things. Oh, there's a worm in there, but get rid of him. He's dead now.
Well, that would probably die in the heat process, I'm sure.
Right. Yeah, he's dead. But hey, we'll throw him in the mummy pile. And
right. There's your mummy. Perfect. You already locally sourced the mummy.
Grind it up, sift it. You could either bake it longer to get it darker in color, or you could just leave it like that. And then you can grind it up into that fine powder once you've gotten rid of all the impurities and things out of it, and then just bottle it up. And then when you wanted to, I need oil paints or I need watercolors, you just use that. And suddenly you have it. So dirt is the oldest pigment. Dirt, plant materials. We have colors called ochres, like red ochre, yellow ochre, brown ochre. Those are just made from plants, and flowers and things like that. Anything like earthy. Those are some of the oldest, most readily available pigments. That's the stuff that we see in a lot of cave paintings and stuff. Because again, as you said earlier, cavemen are just using whatever they have: blood, plants, dirt, that kind of stuff. So, it's really interesting. And there are movements in the art world of using only naturally sourced pigments. They don't want synthetic things because they have their philosophies of why they do that. And whether I buy into those philosophies or not, I just still find the idea fascinating that we're able to get these colors. And I'm gonna make my pirate bandana cosplay out of the mucus of 10,000 snails, or Or I'm probably just going to go down and buy some of that dip dye from, Hobby Lobby or some shit and, put, that do it that way.
It's like baking too, where you're harvesting stuff that you may have grown yourself or hunted yourself or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
And then did all like the traditional style of it. It's a lot of work, and this day and age you do not need to do that. But there comes a satisfaction where it's like, yes, I made everything here from scratch. Now, obviously, unless you built the oven yourself or maybe cooked it outside on a fire, whatever, you could do that. You could get down to the basics and do it. And I think as someone who enjoys creating stuff, it can be neat to say, oh yeah, this thing I made with traditional, like nothing powered. I did everything. I made it all from scratch, or as much as I could from scratch.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of like, so I mentioned earlier that I've been making my own watercolors, and I've made a bunch of pans, and I'm learning. I learned like, oh, I should have done it this way, this time, or and I'm learning as I go. But one of the things is even the binder that I use, which I've purchased gum arabic, and it's already pre-made and stuff like that. That's just the watercolor binder. And you can use that to help thin out your watercolors or to give it more of a glossy sheen if you need it to do that. Like the more binder you use to the pigment ratio, it will have a little bit more tackiness or a shininess to it. But you don't have to use that for watercolors. You can use combinations. Like I've been purchasing the materials to make my own gum arabic or my own binder, and it involves gum arabic, glycerin, honey, and then clove oil. So like I bought some handmade watercolors from an artist online that I follow on Instagram a couple years back because I loved the colors and I loved watching them make them in the video. So I purchased a set to play with, and they're lovely. But when I opened it up, oh my God, the sweetness of the honey and the clove oil coming through the pigment, it was like opening a cake or a pastry. It was just delicious. So I didn't eat them, but it smelled so good.
Kind of making me hungry a little bit.
Yeah, right. Now I need to go buy like some croissants, or something.
This is my biscotti flavored color palette. If you'd like some.
but yeah, I'm trying to find ways to be able to make things in larger batches without having to not only spend a ton of money, because the pigments, whether they're synthetic or they're natural, are expensive. So, but
Caleb, it all depends on how close you live to a body of water and how much you hate snails, because that's really what it boils down to.
Let's bring back the mummy trade. I need to start sourcing my own mummies to grind up for pigment.
It is pretty fascinating. And if you are inclined out there in Distracto land and you are doing something, I think making whatever it is, whether it's paints, whether it's inks, whether it's, I don't know, chairs, I mean, that you're trying to learn the traditional way of doing it, please let us know, because that's really cool that you're, first of all, taking the time to do that stuff. If you're making cigar box guitars, whatever, something that's neat that you're doing yourself and you're creating something to use or to sell to other people to use, we want to hear about it, because this stuff is pretty wild when you think about it. And also, like, what are your workarounds? I mean, maybe you have access to mummies. I certainly don't, but I don't know what you're.
Well, I've been considering walking around the neighborhood asking people if their cats or their dogs are near death, so that when they do,
you're gonna finish that dog, because I can use it if you.
I could, yeah. Hey, the dog's looking kind of long in the tooth there. Do you do you have any plans to put it down? Because once he's done, I've got a kiln.
I got a kiln.
I'm just gonna dry him out real quick and.
Yeah, I'm just gonna shove him in the old orphan grinder and check it out.
Oh, God. I've got a wood chipper and a kiln with that dog's name on it. God, but no, but I think in an age where you can type a prompt into a computer and get some slop returned to you, I think one of the biggest and coolest like FUs to that is to make something by hand, is to, even if it's crappy, even if in the end it's not very good, that the act of a human creating something in this era is a big like I will support that 100%.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know?
Even if you have something that you bought from an IKEA or a big box store and you modify it, I think that's really cool to do too.
Yeah.
Well, it all harkens back to what you said. Like you can't really get that result from an algorithm.
Yeah.
Because everybody looks at something different. You could look at an old doorknob in a vintage store, and you could have 5 people pick up the same thing, and everyone has a different idea of what to do with it.
Absolutely. Well, man, I want to kind of cap this with a nice little tidbit of info that brings us back to the Mummy Brown.
Yeah,
but
please.
I figure this is a great way to end it, to put it in the ground, if you so to speak. So
to really bury this topic, if you will.
Edward Burne-Jones, who was a pre-Raphaelite artist, when he found that his Mummy Brown, his tube of Mummy Brown paint, contained actual mummy, he was so revolted and sad that he went outside, dug a hole, and actually buried the tube of Mummy Brown and never used the pigment again.
So one person from that era had the logic and foresight to realize that this was kind of fucked up that we're doing this.
I paint dead people. Literally, I paint with dead people.
I paint dead people with dead people. It's the circle of death, really, is what you think about.
It's the circle of death.
Well, that's good for that guy. I'm glad that he realized that was insane.
He took his stand. He decided
he did. He showed some respect for the dead, which is nice. It's olden timey people. It's crazy, man.
Well, if you want to see, and then lastly, if you want to see a great painting, one of the most iconic paintings ever created is Eugene Delacroix's "Liberty Leading the People," which is from 1830. It's that very like French Revolution. You've got Lady Liberty raising the French flag in the air. There's a little boy with a couple of pistols in his hands, like we're leading the revolution to take back France for the people.
I don't think going into a war topless is really the way to go. But live your truth.
It's French, man. They love their boobs.
I mean, I'm not complaining, but it's like it seems very unsafe.
Yeah, she's gonna get shot for sure.
Or ogled at the very least.
Well, the guy at her feet is definitely kind of ogling. Yeah, right. But this painting, man, is very brown, and it is so. The idea here is, it's been painted with literal people is not lost on me here. So
yeah, this was the last one that was painted with Mummy Brown. That's
well,
crazy.
no, not the last one necessarily.
But last publicized.
But the last bit of at least the last bit of our conversation involving mummies and paints.
I wonder if you could buy some like Mummy Brown off the dark web. You probably can.
Oh, I'm sure you could still find it. I have no doubts that is a thing that you can
let us know, kids, if you decide to get some Mummy Brown and you find a source for it. Let us know. In the comments.
I feel like I need to acquire a tube of this. And
again, call archives. One of for your research. Call one of your pieces Mummy Brown, or like your dead dog idea might have some water though, or
you know what I'll do. I'm as I mentioned, we were talking about this earlier. I'm a fan of Ghost. They have a song called Mummy Dust, which is about greed and money.
Not about the painting pigment.
Not about the painting, but what if I painted a painting of mummy dust with Mummy Brown?
It doesn't specify that it needs to be a person though. Like you could have it, like you said, you could have like roadkill somehow mummify that and then
it's literally just a mummy. So and a lot of them came from the Canary Islands and from Egypt, and they were animals or people. So we're not discriminating where we get our mummies from.
We're not. We're an open mummy.
We are open
source podcast.
Mummy purveyors. Purveyors of fine mummies from across the world.
Purveyors of comedy podcasts and mummies, which is a weird thing to also be a purveyor of, but okay.
Welcome to Caleb's Expeditions. We are purveyors of fine mummies and Dole Whips.
It's Dole Whip. Well, I like one of those things, so that's good. I'm not going to tell you which. Well, this was a pretty wild ride into the world of pigments. Thank you.
I think so. It's
horrifying me in every way possible.
Well, I thought, how could we have some fun today with some pretty mundane stuff? And I hopefully this was as fun as it was in reality as it was with me looking it up.
You can never criticize past humans for not thinking outside the box.
That's for damn sure.
So, hey, we want to, again, thank you. We do this in every episode, but thank you so much for the people that have listened to this and told people about it and subscribed to one of our various outlets and liked us on any social media or in passing. And you're like, hey, these guys are okay. And just peeked in for a couple seconds. Hey, we appreciate it.
Yeah, and those of you who have reached out and either offered suggestions via our texts or inboxes on Instagram or Threads, or called me. I had somebody call me the other day who's a friend of mine who said, hey, we've been listening. We love your podcast. It's so great to hear you guys. I feel like I'm a part of the conversation there, which is lovely because that's what we want.
I got the opposite call. That must have been nice.
You shut your damn mouth, Brian.
Please stop doing it. It sounded weirdly like Caleb. It's like, hey, are you calling me from an unlisted number?
Do you want to see a scary movie?
No, we really do. We really do. Thank you. And also, yeah, keep suggestions coming. Even if you want to message us directly and say, hey, I want to hear more about this, or I would like to add something. Yeah, we really do want the engagement because that's really what it makes it all about.
Absolutely.
That we're interesting somebody, not just the two of us yucking it up after a couple hours talking about mummies.
Absolutely. So if you have any pictures of mummies or boobs or whatever, and you want to send them off to Brian.
Yeah.
Send all of those photos to Brian.
Yep.
You
can send them directly to the Gwinnett County Police Department at 4.
So, send them off. Send us what you got, people. Give us suggestions. Give us pictures of mummies or whatever you've got, and we're happy to engage with you guys. We love you.
Well, coming up, we got some fun ideas for some shows. I think our next episode's going to be a review of a movie.
Ooh, it's going to be so much fun.
We're not going to tell you what the movie is, but I think you're going to be very disturbed by it.
But it starts with a C and ends with Caligula.
Yep. It's the Disney version, the Kids Bop version of Caligula.
Soundtrack by Hanson.
Yep. Soundtrack by So You Think You Can Caligula.
Oh my God.
Now that's what I call Caligula. Or whatever those stupid things.
Oh my God.
But yeah, so please like and share and subscribe. And again, thank you for listening to this nonsense. Not this particular, but our nonsense in general. We appreciate it.
Well, absolutely. And just guys, remember, if you're not going to eat those mummies or paint with them, bury them in the ground.
Yeah, be respectful of your mummies.
And also remember that although Distracto cannot solve your problems,
it can distract you from them.
Well, this is Caleb.
This is Brian.
And we say we love you.
We love you guys.
Good night and good luck.
And good mummies.
Mummies.
Hey, you there! Yes, you. Do you feel bored? Restless? Are you filled with an overwhelming sense of impending dread by a society on the brink of collapse? Are you looking for a brief moment of escape from the nightmare hellscape our daily lives have become? Well, have no fear! Distracto is here! What is Distracto, you ask? Why, Distracto is a podcast and so much more. Distracto is your dose of distraction from the drudgery of the daily dumpster fire. If you like pop culture, reviews, comedy, deep dives, interviews, or going down internet rabbit holes that just might get you put on a list, then Distracto is the podcast for you. Join hosts Caleb and Brian each week as they delve into delightful and deranged topics that'll make you briefly forget that the world is on fire. Subscribe to Distracto today, where all fine podcasts are found. Follow us on social media at DistractoPod on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Or contact us directly at distractopod@gmail.com. Remember, Distracto can't solve your problems, but it can distract you from them.